Gleeful little voices squeal at me. "Daddy, what have you bought? What is it? Is it for us?" I haul the giant cardboard box through the front door and into the living room, the task made harder by my 6-year-old twins dancing around me. "Is it a present? Is it for us?" They seem on the verge of self-combustion as the box is finally docked by the sofa, pushing each other away, out of the way, in their eagerness to get to it. 78 words to mark the start of this magnificent book called To Hell on a Bike by Ian McGregor. It's about a guy's passion for long-haul road cycling and, as the title implies, not always a pleasant one. Imagine if those 78 words were to describe 1 year of evolution. That means that short quote would describe sort of like a medium lifetime of 78 years. In a classic novel, each page contains about 250 words, and that would equal to 250 years of evolution, which would be no more than 5 generations in just one page. An average novel is about 300 pages, and with the same analogy, 1 word equals 1 year, your normal novel would then take you on a mind-bending 75,000 years of evolution. Just imagine that. 1 book equals 75,000 years of evolution. But if you think that is hard to grasp, then hold on to your knickers for the next one. An average library contains about 60,000 books. So you do your math and you'll find out that the analogy of 1 word equals 1 year, your average library then contains about 4.5 billion years of evolution. And that's equivalent to how long our planet's been around, 4.5 billion years. Now imagine that your local library could contain all evolution of our entire planet in one place. Marvelous. Now imagine yourself entering the library just as they open in the morning. You take left and you grab the first book on the top shelf. You find yourself a nice place to sit. You open the first page and you start to read. Year 1, Year 2, Year 3, Year 4, Year 5, and so on. Well, you finish the book and you eagerly grabs the next one. You get back to the seat and open the first page, and so on. By the end of the day, the librarian rings the bell and it's time to go home. So you pack your stuff, grab the books you want to bring home, and moves towards the counter. On the shelf at the checkout, there are 3 books standing that you have not yet read, and these are the staff recommendations. Well, you can't resist them, so you grab them all, sneaks home as the librarian greets you good night. At home, you realize that these 3 books represent just above 200,000 years of evolution. But not just any evolution, but the entire human evolution. 200,000 years, that's as long as we humans have walked the earth. So out of the entire library of 60,000 books, we're part of the last 3. At home, you sneak up in the sofa with one of the books you brought home, filled with anticipation on how that plot will unfold. So you flip out page 1 and you start to read. But after a while you realize it ain't that much action and not even that much plot at all. Anyhow, you read on and you finish the book. On to the penultimate book, The Maltese Falcon. Now the action must really get going. But life goes on, and not that much really happened. It's quite gloomy and grey and blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Anyhow, you read on and you finish the book. But now it's time for the final book. After plumbing through 59,999 books of the library and our history, it's time for the final book that will conclude this cycle of the total history of our planet. And it's a classic, Margaret Mitchell's Gone with the Wind. So, to finish off the quest, once again you sneak up in your sofa. You flip up page 1 and you start to read. Scarlett O'Hara was not beautiful, but men seldom realized it when caught by her charm, as the Tolterton twins were, the first 19 words of the final 75,000 years of history. Carry on. But then, not that much really happened. It's close to zero progress, and it's blah, 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 blah. And you're about to give up, so close to the finish line. But then, on page 291, sort of like halfway down that page, Jesus shows up, and we're at year zero in our era. The last 2,000 years of our history for the final 8.5 pages of the final book. So we flip up the last page, the last 250 years of our evolution. And that's where we who live now take part for sort of like the last 5, 6, or maybe 7 rows. And then the final sentence, the final 10 words, they were as much as like as 2 balls of cotton, equaling the last 10 years of our history from 2015 up until today. At this point, it becomes quite obvious that evolution sort of like sneaks up on us and grows up on us at an accelerating speed. Just look at the last 200,000 years, the human part of evolution. Have we, even in our physical form, has evolved. And even the number of humans on the planet has evolved in a phenomenal way. Just look at the last 2 centuries, where we have evolved our presence on the planet from 1 billion to well above 8. Most of our planet's history have that evolutionary curve that is exponential. Once in a while something out of the ordinary happens, but that is extremely rare. But there's also a connecting curve, the curve of distinction, that almost everywhere follows the curve of exponential growth, but sometimes also precedes it. This has been true for most of our planet's evolvement, and it remains true even today. In our planetary boundaries, in the world of business, in the progress of society at large, and even in our personal lives. Or, as the famous business quote from the booming 80s says, "When evolution outside your industry is faster than within, the end is near." It's so fascinating to see it so clearly that in nature, nothing ever stands still. It's either on a path of evolution or on the verge of extinction. And as Uncle Darwin so famously coined 200 years ago, it's not the strongest who survive, it's the one who is most eager to evolve and the one who is most adaptable to the evolution. So this leaves us with a final insight. Slow as it feels, progress is building up speed. This is just the warm-up. And so, for the final question, what will the title of the next book be? And most importantly, will you take part in writing the first sentences? This is not the time to sit back and wait for the future. These are the times where we all need to lean forward, to take a step, to take an active part in progressing the future into something that is positive for us all. Specifically, if you are a leader, either of a company or an institution, in your neighborhood or in your family, you need to take responsibility for your own progress, for your own curiosity moving onwards, to be able to then maybe guide others. And remember that no one can do everything, but we all can do something to progress evolution in a positive direction. So be curious and have some energy, be active and do great things. So until next time, stay safe.